Hello and happy Monday from your operational mavens, Josie and Carissa.
Hey, and
Oh my
happy
God.
couple of days before Christmas and all the things because we know like the world shuts down after like Christmas Eve. I mean, even if you're
Yes.
working, everything else is like just stopped. Nothing works.
Right. Even if the world isn't shutting down, like we are, like we for real, like we're just said that last
Yeah.
Monday. We're meeting today for a little bit. We're wrapping up our 12 days of Christmas this week, and then holla like 2026, okay?
Yes.
Basically.
That is exactly what I mean, it just sounds amazing. Just to you know, I was just joking. I said I decided to have a kid like 2 days before Christmas. So not only do I have to deal with the Christmas hustle and bustle, I have my daughter who's like, "Oh, tomorrow's my birthday. I need a cake. I need the." I know. And listen, girl, I'm not gonna jip you because it wasn't your fault. You were born on the 23rd. Just saying. So
She's 17 tomorrow.
yes,
Oh, well, God bless.
17.
Happy birthday, Lay. If you happen to see this, she's
Yes, I'll
probably
let.
like, I'm not watching my mom's stuff. But if she happens to at some point,
She
happy early
doesn't, but I'll
birthday.
tell her that her friend, because she loves her some Josie, so I'll tell her friend Josie said
I
happy
love
birthday.
them. You're welcome.
You're like the
Um,
auntie of all aunties, so
I am. I am. One of my brother-in-law's brothers calls me like the rich auntie, and I'm like, not even close, but I will be the auntie that can spoil them with love and hugs. I'm literally wearing my free hugs shirt again for Christmas because that's what you're getting. Okay, come
listen,
hug
it's in
auntie for
budget.
all the free hugs. It was
Listen,
within budget,
that's what
exactly.
I'm saying. It's in budget unless you're coughing, and then listen, sorry, stay back.
Right. Oh my gosh. So before we kind of wrap up the year, we did want to kind of end with some helpful information, right? So we actually thought it would be good to kind of just talk about some tips on literally how to wrap up your business, right? Going into a new year, kind of closing out some files, some things like that that people may not necessarily think about all the time. And then, if you are going to be like us, taking some time off, just a few tips on really how to get into that vacation mode so that your business doesn't just fall to the wayside, right? You don't want to come back to a hot mess. There is a good, better, best type of way to prep your business before you kind of step out of it for a few days or a couple weeks, whichever you choose. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the answer isn't just unplug, guys. Like, I know a lot of you get to that point where you're burned out and you just stop answering the phone or stop answering emails. Don't do that. I would say my number one tip, which everything kind of trickles underneath it, but my number one tip would be to, first of all, set expectation. Like, if you set that expectation and deliver that message, how they take it is how they take it, whether they get frustrated that you're taking time off or not, that's on them. You did what you needed to do and set that expectation so they don't think you'll be calling them back tomorrow, right? But really, the number one thing I would say is um, when setting that expectation, set up your email to have an autoresponder on regardless. Even if you're checking emails periodically, have that autoresponder on with whatever message you want, right? So I'll be checking emails periodically, just FYI if I don't get back within the next couple of hours. Whatever your situation is, like everybody's is going to be a little different, but putting that autoresponder on for everything from the time you're almost ready to unplug until you come back, right? So that if you do decide that you want to answer a couple here and there, you can, but that's on you, right? They're not expecting it. And the same thing for your voicemail. Just, hey, I'm taking a couple of days off, blah, 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 blah. Just setting that expectation. And I think those two things will help out a ton. So,
Literally, yeah. So I would say exactly what she said, right? Setting the expectations. So I think it's good if you have pending transactions, like give those people a heads up before you just disappear. Don't let them reach out and just hit your away message, right? Just let them know courtesy, like, hey, I'm gonna be out of town or away for these dates. If you need to reach me, text, whatever you prefer, right? Might be easier for pendings specifically. And then for everybody else, yeah, go ahead and just set that away message, but leave instructions on like if you have you maybe you're the team owner, or I'm an ops leader, but like our client care is still going to be working certain days, right? There's team members who are still going to be working certain days. So if you're a solo agent, have you partnered with another agent to kind of be your handoff during that time, especially if you're literally like going away on vacation, whether leaving the state, leaving the country, or whatever it is. So just setting that expectation in the autoresponder, like I'm going to be away for these dates and returning on this specific date, right? But you can get in touch with client care, my director of ops, whoever is still going to be available, my buyer's agent, etc. Um, for any needs that you might have, or for showing requests. What if somebody wants to start working with you for the first time, like a lead reaches out, right? Do I just have to wait until January 5th, or because there's someone who can kind of just point me in a direction to get started today? So putting all of that, I think, is really important in kind of your email autoresponder. And that, I will actually say, is a little trick that I picked up from one of our lenders, like way back when I first started. It was one of the auto things I got back, and I'm like, oh, this is clutch. Like, this is what I need to see, because she's not available, but she just gave me three different people that I could potentially reach out to right now, because I'm
Yes.
trying to send her like a new client referral, right? So, pay attention to those things because they can for sure help. Um, one of the dropping my phone. I took notes. One of the other things, like I said, if you don't have like a vacation buddy, I would say get one. Even if you're on a team, but if maybe your team isn't available, then get another agent locally who you're friends with. Hopefully you have another friend that can help you out. I mean, there's services like Showami and things like that. Not everybody loves those for showings though, because you never know what you're gonna get. So I think it's easier if you have like a trusted person where you can say, this is my kind of partner who's going to be covering me while I'm away. They're going to handle all of the showings. They're going to handle blah, blah, blah. And then you work that out. Like sometimes maybe it's a fee, but like Val used to have someone where they swapped. So if he was on vacation, she covered him. And then when she would go away, he covered her. And then there was never any fee involved. It was just a barter of services between the two of them, right? So that would be my suggestion. Find someone who can be that person for you.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm the same way when it comes to showings. Like it's almost an insult if someone wants to pay me $25 to open a door for them. I would rather you just say, "Hey, I'll show for you," right? And that's not the same for everybody. I get that, but I time is everything to me. So if I can get some time back by someone showing for me, I'm going to repay that because I know what that feels like, especially in our area. Oh my gosh, showing one house takes like 45 minutes to drive to. So even if you're in the same county. So I appreciate when people do it for me. So I'm always willing to return that favor. Um, but Josie was saying she hit a good point because a lot of us are scared to unplug because of the thought of losing new business. Like business now, people will understand for the most part when you're going away because you have things tightened up, the handoff, the communication, whatever it is, they know what the next thing is because you're able to tell them, like, hey, you're not closing for another 2 weeks. We're good. I'm going to check my email at least once a day, whatever that looks like for them. But they usually feel okay. So, but for you, how do you set up a new handoff? Like Josie said, what is the expectation in your email? So help yourself out. Like if you do have a partnered lender and you have an autoresponder that you might want to say, hey, if you are brand new and have never either work with me or you're wanting to purchase really soon, here's some things that you can do to get started. First is reach out lender and you give them your preferred lender's information and maybe put something next to it like you're free to use whoever you want. This is just who I've had great results with, and then honestly, I would always suggest to do that new buyer, seller, whatever it is, form, right? Google form. Put that link in your email so that when they are in there, they can fill that out and you can gather the information. So if it's someone who's saying they want to buy next month and you see that Google form come in, the urgency is a little bit more than someone who's trying to buy next year, right? And so
Mhm.
maybe at that point you can reach out to somebody and get that set up. But get as prepared as possible because it makes your comeback easier. And when I say your comeback, it's like you're not having to unwind everything and then send out your new client onboarding and whatever that is. You have all the information and you're ready to hit the ground running on day one, because there's nothing worse than going on a vacation or taking some time off and regretting it, right? And saying, geez, like I shouldn't have even taken time off because I'm making up all of it by working till 11, 12 o'clock at night every night for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
So that's the only
One
thing I would add is in that, like those couple of things could help you.
Absolutely. One of the times, I think I shared this before. I don't know if it was on a live, but one of the times when Val went away on vacation, it was 2 years ago, she got a second phone so that she could leave me her primary phone. And then she took, like an emergency phone with her. Um, I was like, never again. Okay. Like when she got back, her phone was nonstop. Like people knew she was out of town, and yet it was insane. And then like the agents weren't really prepared, or they just leaned on her, I think, so much, which was not necessarily good. And then I had my own phone, my own calls. I was director of ops. I was doing transactions. I was still working my full-time job. I was like, oh, hang myself. Okay. So that was not effective. What I would say though, if you do have again like a lead agent, lead admin, not lead agent, but a lead, well, I guess actually yes, if you have a lead agent, like a director of sales or a lead admin or a client care, somebody like that, to make sure that you actually do take like an hour, literally to do a proper handoff, go through all of your pending transactions. Who's waiting on an inspection addendum, who's waiting on an appraisal to happen or the appraisal results to come back, just all the things, and set those expectations. Like I'll be checking my emails once in the morning. I am literally throwing my laptop in the ocean and I'm not checking my email until I get back. I said that the one time I've ever said that was when I was on my honeymoon, okay? I was like, literally, guys, like they had me the week before the wedding, and then honeymoon, I was like, you could pretend that it died in the ocean because like I'm not checking anything. And they were so good to respect that time for me, right? And so whatever it is that you choose to have those expectations be, just be able to set that with a person, ideally, right? That you have at least a VA, somebody who you can kind of say, this is what you can expect. I will check my messages at this time of day, once a day, a couple times a day. You can reach me on WhatsApp, like whatever the case might be, right? Um, Emergencies are rare, but they do happen. So I would say, unless it's truly impossible for someone to reach you for some reason, have that just emergency, line, so to speak, right? Wherever you are, right? So even when I was on my honeymoon, like Val knew if anybody was going to reach out to me, it would have been her, and she knew that she could reach me via WhatsApp, for example, right? Um, Another suggestion that I would make, so if you have a VA, this won't be for everybody, but if you're on a team, if you have a VA or like a lead ops person, have a list of passwords. That's something that actually just gets neglected by a lot of people. But if for some reason like I needed to go into Val's account, multiple of her accounts, I have lists of passwords. She gets locked out. She comes to me and she's like, what's the password for blah blah blah, Because why should she have to remember all that? She's the rainmaker doing 1,000 other things. And so like we have a shared Google Drive doc, right? Where so nobody else can access it per se. There's other different options, like there's different software where you can have more of like a locked document or something if you want, but it just makes it easier. So if I'm on the go, I can pull it up in Google Drive. She can technically pull it up in Google Drive too, right? And it's just shared between me, her, and the client care manager. And then that's it. Nobody else has access to it. Um, and then, if we swap, like we swapped out client care manager, no, we will not, Marissa, don't worry. But if we ever did, like I could just change, the remove it the way that the Google Drive works, right? You just unshare access, and then that locks the person out basically.
Yes.
Um, and were you gonna add something to that? The
No,
password thing?
I'm just
Okay.
agreeing. Yes, the all like honestly, all these are great tips. Like really.
Yeah. And I was like, I thought I had one more, but no, that was really the gist of it. Like it's just those bits of things, the handoff, obviously, making sure that you have that vacation buddy or somebody to just be covering you in your absence, the email away message, list of passwords. Those would be my top suggestions.
Yes. And so what I will add from two different perspectives, from being the one in charge to being the second hand to the person in charge, right? So before they leave, right? And especially, we all know it takes everything for us to unplug, right? So let's just put that out there. If you don't have to, like, if you're looking this as an admin and your rainmaker's going away, don't bug them unless it's unnecessary. Like when I say unnecessary, like it is they have to answer this question, right? It's something that if they can help to fix it, but if they're on an island in Fiji and there's nothing they can do, don't bother them because it's just going to ruin their trip, right? If there's nothing they can do, nothing they can help with, like you can handle that and explain whatever fell apart or whatever didn't go right when they come back. But that goes into probably my
Unless
last.
they ask, I would say, unless they ask to be informed, obviously, but
Right.
otherwise,
But
yeah.
have the conversation and let them know, like, if there's nothing you can do about it, why would you want to be worried about it? Like, and this is part of coaching from the middle. And when you are that director of ops, main admin, sometimes the coaching has to come from the middle and you have to figure out how you get through to them and let them understand, like, they need to unplug to be the best for you and the team, right? They can't burn out because you rely on them for your salary, right? So, like, do this. And so, explain to them the benefit of, like, all right, if a deal fell through and there's nothing you could do about it, why do you want to know about it while you're on vacation? Just so it can ruin your trip? Like, there's nothing you can do about it, right? So think about that. Think about the things that you can eliminate from that conversation so that they're not ruining their time. But on the flip side, like Josie made a good point in having that communication up front of like what they want to hear, what they don't want to hear, coaching them through that. But ultimately, maybe even like the handoff is the biggest part, guys. Like I cannot, I know Josie cannot, like she says an hour, like that's just you sitting down with your admin, your assistant, your sidekick, your partner, whatever it is, and explaining it. But taking time before is going to be more than an hour because the more information you give and the directions, when I say directions, like literally, like you can make these decisions for me, right? So pricing, no. Like if someone calls up to like negotiate a price, no, you do not have the authority to do that. You know, you can't do this, you can't negotiate this. You can do this, this, and this. Like having clear directions so that when whoever you're handing the power to feels empowered to do so and knowing that okay, Josie told me that I could negotiate this if we got an offer on this listing, I can negotiate within these realms and this, you know, she gave me parameters, bumpers, whatever you want to call it. But that's why I'm saying like dig deep on your handoff because it's empowering to know that you gave specific directions to this person and you can unplug because they know exactly what to do.
Hmm. I agree. I agree.
And I think
Um,
I may have a handoff sheet somewhere. I'll check. I can't promise you because I'm not creating one, guys, today. But if I have one, I will drop it in the files for y'all. But I may have one from my past life.
and that is one where, again, literally, you were talking about handing off transactions, handing off expectations, like a sheet could be great. ChatGPT can also help you with a sheet. Chris is not gonna make one right now, but the only so separate from that, what I would add for like just wrapping up your end of year stuff in general, right? Think about what have you prepared for 2026? Like, have you reset your meeting calendar, right? So a little bit of this, yes, I'm talking about time blocking, but just in general. So like at the end of every year, we look at our team meetings are every Monday, for example, and then we have a monthly team meeting. Do those dates and times still work for us, or should we reassess for next year, right? Because I set those for the full year on the calendar, and then I'll go through and physically like change holidays and things like that. But then it's just done. But then for 2026, right, or every year moving forward, in case we want to change it, I only do it 2 a year at a time. The same with our real estate, our monthly masterminds. Like it's set for every Thursday right now, but if we need to revisit, change the times up, then for 2026, like we'll change it, right? So take a look at that. Like, are the meetings, the fixed meetings still good, or do those need to be changed around? Do you have like your marketing stuff like on the calendar? Do you have like the special holidays if that's something that you like to put out on social media? Not not the common like Christmas and the New Year's and things, but like hot cocoa day or things like that. Like, do you have that set for the new year? Because sometimes it's, every third Wednesday of whatever month, and sometimes it's a specific day every year, right? So things of that nature. And you can use either just manually go through and look at some of that stuff, or again, yes, you can use like ChatGPT to just help you kind of really lock down your 2026 calendar so that you feel a little bit more prepared in that regard.
Right. And just get done whatever, like, um, if you are coming back, like a lot of us are unplugging till the beginning of the year. And then when January 1st hits, we're freaking rushing all over to get all these little things done. So prepare whatever Josie said it before our call, but like your statements, right? So if you're sending out the settlement statements from this year of 2025, make sure they're all ready to go. And if you follow our trick, they will be. All you'll have to do is pick them up and drop them in the box because it should be part of your post-closing checklist, right? So none of y'all are going to be rushing because y'all did that. But if you didn't, get that done at least. So when you get back, that's one less thing you have to think about, right? So tighten up anything that you can tighten up right now. So when you hit the ground in 2026, you're hitting 2026 and not doing stuff that should have been finished in 2025.
Exactly. And some of the files also would be things that like I like to box up at the end of the year. So it depends on what you save, right? Because you don't want to be a hoarder, and you only need to save things for a certain amount of time. So like I'll save conversation logs, so like phone messages and things like that. I will save that at least for another year forward, potentially, in case for some reason I needed to go back, for example. I save my 411s personally, like month to month and things like that, like in a folder, right? But then towards the end of the year, like all of that kind of just gets combined. I might flip through to see like, was there a note or something like that that like I meant to go back to on a different month that I never did. Other than that, like if I have a new GPS and I'm going to be doing new for ones, I don't necessarily need those like next year. So those can get like tossed, they can get shredded or whatever the case is. And that's just me, right? But looking through your files to see what can be boxed up, what can be kind of closed out, right? And what needs to kind of just carry over. Part of that is just making room in your filing cabinet if you have one, and then part of that is there's just a good feeling about being able to say like, yes, this piece of 2025 like is done, right? Closing out your this on my to-do list today, making sure that I wrap up our referral cards for people who have sent us referrals, right? I was a little behind because of how busy we've been. So I'm gonna get those sent out with a little happy holiday message and send out the little referral gifts that go with them. So things of that nature are all of like your eyes dotted and your T's crossed before you kind of just disappear into the ether. Because just like Carissa said, you don't want to come back January 5th and like, crap, I didn't do these 5 things from 2025. And now I also need to go figure out my life for 2026. Like, you don't want that to happen, basically.
Mm-mm. No, because then that's when you stop taking vacations because you're like, it's more work to take the freaking vacation than to not. So I promise, and all of what you just said, in getting rid of stuff, filing stuff, doing all that, my one thing this year that I promised myself I would do is get rid of my planner from this year because I have this really bad habit of holding it because I'm like there might be something in there that I need or I need to go back to because I do take a lot of notes like in there as a habit, but I'm gonna get rid of it because I can't be a hoarder. I have like 6 years worth of planners that I refuse. So that's part of my wind down this year is to just go through them so I can reassure myself like there's nothing crazy in there. And if there is, I'm screenshotting it, like I'm take a picture and file it so that I have whatever I needed in there and I can get rid of these big, thick planners. But I am gonna jump on and do a planner check-in on our page later today, probably because I'm about to start my new one for this year. And I'm just going to save, let you guys know what some of my favorite things are and what you could look for in a planner. Because if anybody knows about it, it's me. I've gone through like 97 of them this year. So,
She does. She does. I'm a digital person. I feel so bad. I was gifted a planner at the beginning of this year, and I'm like, I don't use paper planners, so it literally just went in the garbage today because
yeah.
I found it buried under dust, and I was like, okay.
I use
Yeah.
all the things though. Like I literally have the desk one where I just jot down quick notes. You can see it. It's like right here. Just things that need to be in my face, but there's something about writing it in this planner. I have everything in Google too, but there's something about writing in a
Yeah,
planner that
no, a
just
lot of
feels
people are like
good.
that. I just, yeah, I used to
So,
use a desk planner when I sat more often at like a traditional
mhm,
desk, but not anymore.
yeah,
But yes, that is all good advice. And so we hopes a lot of that helps. You know, we went through some vacation tips, so just kind of wrapping up your business tips, right? Because these are things that we're literally doing right now as well for our personal businesses, for our coaching businesses, for our real estate businesses, as well as for the Real Estate Operations Institute, right? The three different hats that we kind of wear. So things that we literally do ourselves, and we want to help you guys kind of just get better with doing them as well.
100%. And I love it. I love being able to share this information because again, this little vlog, I call it, our
No,
YouTube
it's not like a
vlog.
podcast, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a vlog.
yes, I wish I had this. It should be called I wish I had this when I started because that's exactly what all of this is. Like nobody tells you this when you get into real estate, and it's hard for us to absorb it sometimes because most of us come from corporate America where we're so used to being structured environments where everything is planned. Like when you're not at the office, somebody else is doing your stuff, right? So
Yeah.
in real estate, not so much. So this is good to have. So I appreciate anybody who's listened to this because it will help you, I promise.
Yeah. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We'll see them at some point. We'll definitely reach back out to you guys. But on that note, I think that's it. That's going to be our wrap on Real Estate Unfiltered for 2025. And we will be back Monday, January 5th.
I
Right.
think
Yeah,
that's
the
it.
5th.
Yeah, the fifth.
Um, and until then, we hope that you have an amazing holiday this week if you're celebrating. And a wonderful, wonderful Happy New Year.
Yes. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Bye, guys.
Bye.